Hi everybody, my name is Glenn Monroe, and in today's video I want to show you how to do something very cool with your customized toolbars. In previous videos I've shown you how to do that, how to customize a toolbar. This time I want to show you how to create your own button where Excel didn't give us a button and they didn't give us a shortcut either. So here's what I have. On my Glenn Stuff tab, I have a button called Center Across Selection, which allows me to grab this data here and hit that, and it centers it without actually merging the cells. So good little feature to have. So I created a button for that, because without that, what I would have to do, let me go back to my starting point, is I'd have to grab the range, then go into alignment, hit this arrow here, go to my horizontal, choose center across selection, and hit OK. And that's the way to get there. There's no shortcut button to get me there. So let me just undo that. Now I want to show you how to do that, how to create your own button where Excel forgot to or didn't bother to or whatever. And then if you have done this for any buttons, or if you do this with certain features you like in the guts of Excel where we don't have a button, share them with me, please, in the comments. I'd like to know what features you know, because there's a lot of stuff in there and maybe I just don't know about it. So I welcome that feedback from you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some coding, but we're not going to actually worry about having any programming knowledge in this case, because we're going to use the macro recorder. The macro recorder is a tool that will record your steps, so that way you can just run them next time. So that's what we're going to do. But the macro recorder isn't enough, but it's a pretty good starting point for people who are interested in this. So I grabbed the range of data that I want to merge. You have, with a macro recorder, you have basically a little monkey sitting on your shoulders watching your steps. So if I wanted to have a button that's going to center this selection across the screen, or across this range of cells, I need to select the cells first. If I don't, if I start the recorder while that cell is active, and then grab the range of A1 to H1, then part of the recorder is going to be A1 to H1, grab that range, and then merge them. But what happens if next time I wanted to merge this range? The button would grab A1 to H1. A macro is the dumb animal. It just follows. You think of it as a little monkey that's going to follow you step by step along the way. So by pre-selecting my range, I can now apply that feature. What I'm going to do is this. Down in my bottom corner here, I have a record button. I hit record, and I'm going to give the macro name, center this thing, and then I'm going to put it in my personal macro workbook, not in a new workbook or this workbook, a personal macro workbook. You already have one in the background. You don't have to call IT to get it installed. It's already there. And by putting this code there, then this code is available on every sheet I use at any given time. So that's where I want to put this. You can put a shortcut on it if you want to. I'm not going to. You can put a description in there if you want. I'm not going to. Give it a name. No spaces is the biggest rule of it. I'm just going to capitalize each new word, center this thing, and then I hit OK. Now when I hit OK, I'll bring this down here so you can see it easier. The little record button suddenly changes to a square, and if I hover over it, macro is currently recording, click to stop the recording. So my steps are now being followed. So I go up here to my alignment tab, in this case, hit the launcher box, go down here, and even though on this tab I can adjust the orientation, wrap text, shrink to fill, merge cells, change text direction, even though I can do all of that, I only want to do the horizontal center cross selection. I'm mentioning all the detail of all the other things I can do for something I'm going to throw on the end of this video. For those of you who just want to know this without ever looking at the code, no problem. You go in here, you center cross selection or whatever the formatting was you wanted to do, and hit OK. It's done, and now you press stop. That's it, before you click another cell. Otherwise, part of the macro would be click cell F5, and what if I don't want to be in F5? So make sure you start and stop the recorder where you want it to. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to add a button to my Glenn Stuff folder. You can be on any ribbon, doesn't matter which one. Right click and customize the ribbon. Or you can go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, but this is faster to get here. So in my Glenn Stuff tab, I'm going to put this after my Format Painter. And under my popular commands, I want to choose instead my macros. Here's a list of all my macros. Center cross selection is one I already have built in. I'm going to leave that one alone because I like that one. Here's the one I created just now called center this thing. So that's the new one I'm adding. I hit add and there it is. Now when I add it, you'll see there's a little symbol there, the box with the two boxes below it, and it says personal.xlsb center this thing. Now I probably don't want to say that. I probably want to just say center across selection or center this or whatever I want to call it. I want it to look that way, as this one does. This one looked like this initially. In fact, if I was going to add it again, center cross selection, boom, that's how it looks. I'm going to remove that one because I don't want it anymore. So this one, let's clean this up a little bit. We're going to rename it. I'm going to give it, just going to give it a new name. Okay, and you can give it a symbol of any sort. If you don't give it a symbol, you'll have that symbol, the macro one. I don't want the macro one because that's the standard, and you're going to want to get in the habit of putting your own symbols in. So I chose this one here because it looks like a merged cell. You cannot at this time upload your own pictures any way I'm aware of. If there's a way, I'd love to hear that, but I'm not aware of that. So I chose this one. For this one here, it's a temporary button. I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to go with the snowflake or whatever that's called. So I'm going to go with that and hit OK. And there, that's what it's going to look like now. And I hit OK. And on my Glenn Stuff tab, I have center this. Now let me unmerge this section. I'll merge it all and unmerge it again. Grab a range. I'll go with this range here, and then I can center this. And there we go. So that's how to add a button. I no longer want that button. I'm going to remove it. I'll show you how to do that at the end. If you do that and that works for you, great. Now, if you want to look at the code, you may not want to look at the code. So I'm giving you this, here's your chance to opt out now before it gets all too geeky on your screen. But to look at the code, the fast way in is Alt F11. And that brings me here. And in Module 1, here's my code for center this thing. So I can leave it be. It works perfectly well. Or I might want to clean it up a little bit. So for instance, what this does is because I had that big pop-up window that had all those options of horizontal alignment, vertical, wrapping text, orientation, adding indents, shrink to fit, merging cells. Because all those options were there, they all show up as lines by the macro recorder. This takes microseconds or some very tiny unit of measure. I don't know what the scientific term is, but it goes darn fast. So you don't have to do anything here. But if you're like me and you want to clean it up, this is with the selection, do each of these things, and then end my width. Well, I don't want to muck with any of this stuff except for the horizontal alignment. So I'll just delete those. That's fine. You can even leave the space in. It doesn't matter. Now, because I only want the selection that way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the spaces in between the selection and the dot, and then get rid of my width and my end width. I can get rid of some other stuff here as well to tighten this up. And there we go. And that will do exactly what I wanted it to do. In fact, when I go to my code, there is my center cross selection macro that I use, the exact same one. So I only need that one line of code. If you wanted to do multiple things, leave the multiple things there. But that's a quick snapshot of getting in here to just kind of dip your toe in the water of macros and what you can do with it. The final step you need to remember is this. When you go to close Excel when you're done, because you changed the personal macro workbook, and that is in the guts of Excel, you're going to get a pop-up that says, changes have been made to the personal macro workbook. Do you want to keep them? If you say no, then all this work is gone. You'll still have the button here. It's just going to point at nothing because that macro wasn't remembered. I'm going to get rid of this button now by just going right-click, customize the ribbon, choosing the snowflake here, hit remove. Okay, and now I'm back to my starting point again with my one. That's that. That's this video and a little dip into macros. I'm going to do more stuff with macros as we go along. I'll go deeper into stuff. I'll go lighter into stuff. I want you to feel fun playing with these things. So I hope you'll ask questions. Some questions could be easy things for me to answer. Some questions could be hours and hours of work, which I might not be quite so willing to give away, but we'll see what happens. But I do want your feedback on these kind of videos. I hope you'll share this, encourage others to watch my videos, sign up for my channel, do all those things. And everybody, hey, thanks for watching. Learn more about Excel. There's tons in there, and I'm glad to be somebody who can help you with this. So thanks for watching. Bye.